Want to save time, money, and your sanity while planning your wedding? Subscribe to Wedding Planning Podcast Premium on Apple Podcasts for early ad-free access to all weekly episodes, plus an exclusive bonus series that outlines exactly how to use ChatGPT to your advantage with dedicated meetings for customizing your budget, finding the perfect venue, hiring your vendors, and so much more. Save hours of time, avoid tons of wedding overwhelm, and make confident decisions faster. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts and start planning with clarity. Enjoy the show. You don't need to be a professional designer or a natural-born artist to select a beautiful and cohesive color palette for your wedding celebration. Today on the Wedding Planning Podcast, we're going to run through some easy guidelines to keep in mind as you choose the colors to incorporate into your rehearsal, ceremony, and reception. That's coming up next on the Wedding Planning Podcast. Hello there, and thank you, as always, for joining me here this week on the Wedding Planning Podcast. A huge congratulations to you on your engagement, and what a special, exciting time of your life this is, and a big thank you again for including me in it. That's a huge honor, and I appreciate you being here so very much. I have a really fun topic to share today, and that is highlighting the do's and the don'ts of choosing your wedding color palette. I'm going to set you up for success with a few classic guidelines on choosing your colors. And then in the second half of today's show, I'll highlight the top mistakes that couples make when choosing their wedding color palette. Now, for someone who doesn't have a natural eye for design, this seemingly innocent topic can actually become pretty overwhelming and intimidating. Choosing colors extends so far beyond just what color dresses your bridesmaids will wear. And your colors are really interwoven across so many multiple elements, such as your save the dates, your invitations, your wedding website, and then of course the decorations and the visual elements of your actual wedding celebration itself. So with all that said, let's dive in. We're going to start by exploring 5 easy steps for choosing your wedding color palette. I think the most obvious place to start here on step number 1 is starting with your venue. The mood, the style of your venue space, and the overall vibe that it gives off. Now, I know that if you're newly engaged, this might not be something that you've committed to quite yet, and this is a perfect time to be talking about it, because as you move forward and as you are touring venue spaces, keep in mind, again, the overall color palette that's already built into that venue space. That's going to be a huge indicator and a huge guiding light towards what colors you ultimately decide to use. Step 2 behind your venue space is next we can start to think carefully about the very first wedding element that your guests are actually going to see. And that's going to be your save the date cards and likely your wedding website. These are 2 great opportunities to set the tone for your overall celebration. And unfortunately, a lot of couples breeze right by this step without putting careful thought into it and how it really ties into your overall color palette. My favorite resource for free wedding websites and really affordable and really beautiful, professionally designed save the date cards is Minted. For today's conversation, I'm bringing up Minted for a very specific reason, as it relates to helping you choose your wedding color palette. Minted is essentially an online stationery marketplace, and it's made up of countless independent designers and artists from around the world. And what this means for you is that you get to enjoy the newest design trends and wedding color palettes across all of their beautiful products. So here are some really specific next steps. You're going to head to weddingplanningpodcast.co/minted. And there you can view nearly 80 options for save the date cards, and I've even filtered out the exact designs that also have free matching wedding websites and a matching full suite of wedding stationery so that right from the get-go you can have the option to keep everything cohesive. Now, does every single thing have to match exactly across all things from now until your wedding day? Of course not. It's simply an option for those of you who want a no-brainer, just one-stop way to keep your colors really cohesive from start to finish. So again, head to weddingplanningpodcast.co/minted, where I have 78 options for save the date cards. Click into the ones you like and then explore all of the color options that are available. You're typically going to find at least 6 to 8 main color options for any given design. This is such an easy way for those of us who aren't natural born designers and artists. This is an easy way to identify 1 to 2 main colors that you want to focus on throughout your wedding color palette. And notice I said 1 to 2 colors, not 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 colors. Wedding color palettes and overall design comes together best when we keep it simple. And that leads me perfectly into step number 3 for choosing your color palette, which is keep it simple. White is a classic wedding color for a reason. It's simple, it's easy to plan around, it's timeless, and it can be paired with everything. The same goes for ivory and essentially any other neutral colors out there. If you're at a loss and you're not feeling super excited about committing to a bold or a bright color, that's fine. Neutrals and simplicity are always your friend, and choosing a neutral color palette leaves the door open for you to add in pops of color along the way. And moving right along to step number 4, Pinterest. Pinterest is your friend, and it's the best way to confidently nail your wedding color palette, even if you have absolutely no experience or knowledge of design principles. And I know, we have a very love or hate relationship with Pinterest. So if you're on the hate side, no worries, but please trust me for the purposes of our discussion today. It's an invaluable resource for identifying professional colors that work well together. And I have some very strategic pointers to avoid visual overwhelm and falling down 20 different wedding planning rabbit holes. Go on to Pinterest with a set mission. In this case, it's to get inspiration for what colors look good together. If you have 1 to 2 main colors that you know you want to work with, here's a great way to put Pinterest to work for you. Head to Pinterest.com, type in the search bar on the top, your chosen color, plus the words wedding color palette. So here are some examples for you. Blush wedding color palette, navy wedding color palette, terracotta wedding color palette. You get the idea. If you know at this point that you want to use blush and navy, then combine the two into one search. So that would look like blush navy wedding color palette. And bam. Just like that, you're going to get served endless combinations and real life inspiration photos from professional wedding planners and event designers showing you the exact colors that work well together. Pinterest is a beautiful and such an easy way to take advantage of free resources that can help guide you towards the exact look that you want across every single wedding element, starting with save the dates, to your wedding party, to your tablescapes and centerpieces, and beyond. And step 5, which let's call it wedding color tip number 5, it's not really a step necessarily, but it's important to consider your wedding party outfits, what they're going to wear, especially bridesmaids' dresses. And this is because that is typically a main centerpiece or a main element of your wedding color palette. Are you going to have 7 girls who are all super excited about wearing mustard colored dresses? Maybe, maybe not. I'll just plant that seed and let you take it from there. Coming up after a quick break, we're going to review the top mistakes that couples make when choosing their wedding color palette. I'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back to our conversation all about choosing your wedding colors. And I thought it would be helpful in the second half of today's show to illustrate some of the big mistakes that couples make when choosing their wedding colors. And the first huge mistake is not leaning into your venue's appearance or trying to compete with the style and the vibe of your wedding venue as you're thinking of colors. Now, your venue, I say this over and over again, your wedding venue is such an important decision, and trying to override your venue's style or trying to hide or cover up or dismiss unchangeable design elements, that's going to be a losing battle, so don't even try. If your venue is a vintage theater and it has giant emerald, gold, and ruby curtains hanging everywhere, there is no amount of blush pink decor or flowers that are going to downplay or hide or minimize those very dramatic curtains. Now, if you've already chosen a venue, then that's a great place to start for inspiration on what colors you can pull from and highlight using that natural environment. And if you've already committed to a venue that has a dubious color scheme built into it, don't worry. It's not a crisis. It's fine. If you're in doubt about the color scheme that's going to work best in a space, I would always recommend that you stay neutral and classic with whites, ivories, or any other neutral shade that you can pull from that environment and that's going to complement the other things going on within that space. And the next mistake that's made when choosing wedding colors and main centerpiece of your color palette is dismissing the season. And I mean this specifically with regards to flowers. Now, I don't like to get too tied down with seasonal colors because I personally think that when paired correctly, any color can work with any season. If flowers will be a big component of your wedding decor, I would definitely recommend that you realistically consider the flowers that will be available during your particular wedding season and just consider the color options that presents to you. And another mistake on color selection is waiting too long, doing this too late in your engagement. So we opened today's show talking about save the dates and your wedding website, the first visual elements of your wedding celebration that your guests will actually see. Ideally, you're going to have a general sense of what your color palette is early on in your engagement when your save the dates and your wedding website are first designed. It's a great opportunity to set the scene and set the visual stage for the rest of your celebration. And if you wait too long to finalize your colors, then that's a missed opportunity. And the other missed opportunities with waiting too long to decide on colors are to get painted into a corner with bridesmaids and groomsmen attire, getting stuck with choosing floral centerpieces or flowers, and running into unavailable rental options. So let's break those 3 things down quickly. I went through them pretty fast. Starting with dresses, suits, tuxedos, the lead time on that is going to vary a lot depending on your choice of vendor. But if you're 3 months away and you're still torn between terracotta or blush pink for your bridesmaids, then you are quickly running out of time, my friend, and we need to get a decision down. There is a whole separate conversation to be had on choosing wedding colors that will work with your wedding party. And that is certainly something important to consider early on. I did touch on that earlier in today's show, and it's a consideration that may or may not be a major deciding factor for you. With regards to flowers, if that's going to be a major design element, then considering your wedding season and how it relates to your colors is an important thing to think about. And that's another topic that we touched on earlier in the show. And then finally, rental items, decoration rentals, all of that's going to book months in advance, and you're going to have the best selection and the widest variety of options if you buy yourself as much time as possible. And it just benefits you to have a confident vision of your color and your design palette as early as possible. To summarize this whole part, you're best off choosing a simple, general color palette early on, and that gives you a guide for all of your visual and design decisions right from the start. Another big mistake that couples make is working with too many colors and trying to do too much. 1 to 2 main colors and then 2 to 3 supporting colors. Use Pinterest to your advantage to get some visuals and keep it simple. And then our last mistake to avoid is don't fall for trendy colors if they don't reflect your taste or your personality. And if you're ever in doubt about colors, remember to keep it simple, keep it classic, and just follow your instincts of what you're naturally attracted to.